got this right. We got this right.
Hi, friends. Today is episode 5 of We Got This Right, podcast by Kaylee Waldrop and
Julia Barra.
And I've been thinking about how friendships are important, but also what makes a good friend and why some friendships last forever while others fade away. So some of those seasonal friends and, why some stick around. And I think for everyone, it's a little bit different of what they're looking for in friends and depending on what season of their life they're in. So I guess we'll start with why friendship matters. Well, to me, and I know you did some research, so I know we have a lot of facts, but for me, I think in the research that I did, it showed that friendships impact happiness, stress levels, mental health, physical health, and longevity. And what I've saw and what I've noticed is the people that have those friends that are like good friends, solid friends, they say, statistically, they live longer.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what my research shows. And how perfect my shirt today is the Golden Girls, and it says squad.
We'll have to post it. We'll link it.
But yeah, I was reading the National Institute of Health says people with strong social ties are significantly less likely to experience premature death, even when compared to those with positive physical habits like lower BMI. So it's super important.
Wow, so it's better than
running. Hey, just have a lot of friends and you don't need to run it.
Yeah, you don't need to work out or diet. Is that surprising to you or no? No. I mean, and you've talked about it in the past, but you have a solid group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say in general, you live that statistic, right? Yeah. I mean, because having a big group of friends, I've always had a smaller group of friends, but I also feel like I don't have enough energy to maintain a large group of friends.
I think, well, even with my kids, I always pray for them to have one true friend because I think you really just need one person to know that you have their back that is there for you. You just need one. I think one is better than 20 fake friends to have one solid true friend. But I've shared in previous podcasts, I feel very blessed. But I think it's been a give and take with God where other things have been hard. Like this is an area where I've been blessed. I have really good people in my corner. But I think quality over quantity always. Even if I only had one true bestie, I would take that over 10 people that say they're my friend to my face, but then don't stick up for me in rooms I'm not in.
Yeah. That's a good point because that's always what I've said is like, you want friends, that will stand up for you.
Well, we've recently talked to our daughters about this.
Yeah.
Like if, this particular friend isn't there and all the girls are gossiping about that girl, I want you to be the one that stands up and says, like, we're not going to do that. Or I'm not going to participate. Or if we can't change the subject, then I'm going to leave the room. Like be that person that does that.
Yeah, be that friend. I think, that's huge. And it's hard, but I think it's something with us teaching our girls now, them being young, I think there's not enough of that in teaching people how to be good friends and have good friendships. And that's one of them, right? Is like sticking up for your friends. And that's huge and sometimes uncomfortable, but super important.
Agreed.
And so I guess another thought that I had was, do you think friendships have become more important as you've gotten older? Or do you think they've always kind of, like you've always had solid friends?
I think I've always had solid friends. Like I've told you, that neighborhood I lived on where the
I lived
First Street. I lived on the 4th Street. I actually got a message from a friend who lived on the 2nd Street. And she was telling me how much she likes the podcast. And I was like, that means so much to me because I always looked up to her like a big sister. Like I admired her all growing up. So I don't know. I've always been lucky. At least from the time I moved to Graham, so 10 and older, I've always had really good friend groups.
Was somebody an example for you, or was there anyone in your life that had good friendships, solid friendships, or taught you what being a good friend was? Or do you think
No,
you always just kind of knew?
Maybe, nature versus nurture. I don't know. Maybe it's a piece that's in me because I wouldn't say that either one of my parents have really strong friendships. My dad was in the military, so he definitely has brothers and sisters from the military. And I know sometimes he reconnects with ones that they were in basic together and I guess it would be the 70s. So he does have those, but I don't really think either one of my parents have really strong, like my dad, I guess, does have, he does have a bestie, that we grew up with. I didn't know they weren't my aunt and uncle till I was 8.
Oh, same with us.
This day,
Like
and I think some of them are the cousins and cousin spouses are listeners. But yeah, I was 8 years old and found out that those weren't my real cousins or my aunt and uncle. But to this day, I call them aunt and uncle, and the kids are my cousins. So like if I talk about my cousins in Vancouver, they're not really my cousins,
but they are.
but you are. Yeah,
They are. Okay.
they are. So I don't know. What about for you? Did your parents have strong friendships?
I mean, I did have a situation. My mom had a couple close friends where like my aunt,
Yep.
lived with us for a while, Aunt Amy. But yeah, I didn't know she wasn't my aunt for the longest time. And still to this day, we call her aunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mom always had really long and good friendships, but it was never a conversation where we were like, this is what a good friend is, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've had seasons where I've been a good friend and other seasons where I haven't, and especially growing up, like elementary school, we were good. We were all friends. We all got along. There wasn't much to bicker about. And then middle school kind of started getting hard where there was
Yeah.
cliques and stuff like that. And then where do I fit in? And then high school was even harder
Mhm.
because those cliques were formed. Everyone had their friends. And once you kind of got that label, like I was the nerdy girl, right? I didn't have a lot of friends, but I had my people.
Yeah.
There was like those couple people that were super solid. But coming out of high school, I didn't like maintain any of them because I did the full-time running start. I moved out on my own. So I was in a totally different like phase of my life
Yeah.
where I kind of started over. So I didn't really have anyone to guide me though, I would
Yeah.
say, like kind of figuring it out as you go.
Thank you to all my childhood friends and middle school friends, and even probably, well, more of my elementary, middle school friends. Like, I think I was a lot, and I've like gone back and like apologized to some of them. I'm like, I know I was a lot. I wanted to be an actress. I was over the top. We'd play this game called Made a Movie. So we'd pretend like we were making a movie, and we'd do it all day long. So we'd come up with I would come up with
Let's
what
be
the
real.
plot was and how, but we, what's the word? The dialogue was all impromptu.
Mhm. Like
Improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, improv. And I would let them pick their own character names. Like one of my friends, she would always be CJ because of Baywatch.
Oh my gosh.
She loved
You're like, you did give them some creative
Yeah.
control.
When my sister played, she was always Paige. So like, but I know, and I see that in Bailey sometimes. I have to be like, okay, other people, mommy had to learn this, that other people can have good ideas too. Like,
Like we are a lot and we need to let it go. That's funny.
yeah.
But to that point, though, you learn it as you go. And
Yeah.
I think you learn the most important lessons through people you care about.
Yeah.
Because if you hurt them or you try to control them, or I mean, that hurts. And those are some of the hardest lessons, but the most important lessons.
Mm-hmm. Well, me and you have talked about this. We're super close, and some of my other friends that were super close. But if I hurt you, if I did something that hurt you, I feel like we have a strong enough relationship that you could come to me and be like, Julia, you said this yesterday, and dude, that pissed me off. I went home and I steamed, but now I'm here to talk to you about it. And hopefully we can have a conversation. And I think that's hard for especially our girls, or girl friendships in general are hard at like our kids' age. But telling my daughter and my boys, if you hurt someone or they're avoiding you for a reason, go and say like, what happened? And can we have a conversation about it? Is this friendship worth saving? But I think those are skills you have to learn. And hopefully I didn't have anyone to teach me those. I had to figure it out for myself and lost friends along the way because I used to avoid confrontation.
Oh, yeah, like
and I
having
would
that
just
conversation.
cry and like just avoid it. And okay, that person's now dead to me. That sucks because I really cared about them. But being mature enough to say, hey, can we talk this out? And sometimes we might not come to the same agreement, but find a place where, okay, I am sorry that I hurt you. But just finding that place where, go ahead.
Well, what's funny though is you say that because I feel like we are so in tune now that the other day you're like, hey, did I say something?
Yeah.
I felt like I was a little strong on this thing. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It didn't even register to me, but
And I lost sleep over it.
Yeah. And I'm like totally like, no. I'm like, what do you mean? But when you become so reflective too, that you reach out in advance, like I think those are some important skills too, because I didn't even realize where like but I think having that conversation helped you too.
Yeah,
right?
Because once I explained it to you, you're like, oh, well, I could see where you're coming from, that you thought you were abrasive, but no, I didn't take it that way.
No.
I just took it as you just had a different viewpoint, which actually got you thinking that, oh, well, I
had no idea. Like,
yeah.
So I think that's a really good point, because not only is it like maybe you hurt somebody, but like you could be losing sleep, or you could be having like all these thoughts about how you were in a certain situation where the other person's totally unaware. So I think just having those conversations are healthy, and how the other person thinks through situations and friendships and, you know, conversations or whatever it may be. So
Yeah.
I think being self-aware is huge.
Well, and one of my best friends in Washington, Brooke, shout out Brooke, I love you.
I think we shout her out in every episode.
One of my strongest, longest friendships. But when her and I first became friends, we met at MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers, at our church. And I was on like the board, I can't remember what they called it, but like I had a position in the MOPS group, and I was her table lead. And so she would sit at my table, and we had this speaker come, and he was talking about something. And I said something at the table in front of all the people about Brooke that she took super offensive. And in hindsight, when she explained it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I see how you could have taken it that way, but that is not what I meant. And I'm thankful that she actually, I think it was an email. Brooke, you can correct me and I'll put it in, we got this wrong. But I think she sent me an email that, as my table leader, you embarrassed me. And she sent me this email, and I was able to respond and then eventually ask, could we have a conversation? But had Brooke never taken that step to say, hey, you were super offensive today,
You wouldn't have your bestie.
I wouldn't have my bestie.
I know.
And I think about that all the time. I've told her, I'm so grateful that you
emailed me.
yeah, that you stood up for yourself, but let me explain my side of it. Because what it was, we had a speaker, and he's like, I need a volunteer. And Brooke and him kind of knew each other. Like, they had a rapport. They'd done a project together before. And he goes, preferably someone with hot air. And I said, Brooke, you should go.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And because
Not
he
even
didn't
connecting.
need a volunteer. And I knew that him and Brooke knew each other because they were talking before the program started. So I was saying, oh, you should volunteer because his name was Brett. You should go because you know Brett. But it was right after he said preferably someone with hot air that I said, Brooke, you should go. So she thought I was calling her full of hot air in front of our table.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even
Connect those dots.
I didn't connect those dots. I heard what he was saying, but when he said a volunteer, I just wanted you to be the volunteer. And so we were able to talk through that. Like, I don't think that about you. I think you're fabulous. You're literally one of my favorite people. Yeah. So just being able to stand up for yourself and let the other person explain, because maybe they had no idea. I had no idea that she connected the hot air, and that I was connecting you and Brett and each other. You should go be the volunteer because they have a good rapport. So sometimes too, when there's a tough situation, having the tough conversation, both people could be completely innocent, you know?
Well, and I think you're really good at it too, reaching out to people when there's situations that are, you know, going awry. Like, hey, let's meet up, have a conversation. That's the last thing I think about is I don't want to go meet up with this person and go have this hard conversation. Naturally, when we, you know, meet up at this thing or do this thing, I'll talk to that person. But you're good at like being proactive.
Thank you. It's a skill, and I've developed it because I've had to.
You've had to do it a lot, especially lately. Too.
Yeah. But thank you. I do try and be really self-reflective. I also try and play it out in my head. Okay, I want to talk to this person. If this outcome happens, how am I going to handle it? If this outcome happens, how am I going to handle it? But I think it's important for community relationships. We're sensitive people.
Well, so you're also leading other adults is also kind of the point that I'm getting out of that is, hey, let's meet up. And even this situation is affecting our kids, but we're their parents, leading them, guiding them. And I feel you're also teaching those parents that let's lead by example.
Yeah.
And so I think that's my whole point, is leading by example, especially in this day and age. And, you know.
Well, and we've talked about that before too, is I so firmly believe, not in everything because I can't do everything, but if we're asking something of somebody, then we should be willing to do it ourselves. So leading our cheerleaders, I try and do as much of the workout with them as I can. I try and do the jumps, and I'll tell them, like, my toe touch isn't as great as it was when I was 16, but I'm going to try and do this with you. Yeah. And I'm trying to get my splits back. I've been doing the splits with the girls, but like, I think it's really important, you know, when you ask someone, or even when I was a manager, when you ask something of someone, make sure that you're humble enough to have the wherewithal to also do it yourself. I'm not going to ask anything of you that I wouldn't do, or that I think is unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that is good in like any situation, like friendship and leadership, whatever it may be. When we're coaching, I try my best physically, health wise. I can't always do it, but the other day I did all those jumps with them, and I was feeling it, and I had to sleep in till whatever time. I think we both slept in. But yeah, I agree. I think that's really important, especially in friendship. Well, I think let's talk about the different types of friends.
Okay.
So, thinking about all that we've talked about so far, I think having those lifelong friends, shout out, bro. No, just kidding. But having those lifelong friends or those really long-term relationships. And so there's like our childhood friends, our long-term friendships. There's also those seasonal friends too. And this just kind of pops into my mind because I'm changing jobs right now. And thinking about, I had a really close coworker at the last place I worked. And to this day, she sends me like our birthdays were so close, like birthday cards, Christmas cards. And I feel so bad because I always get wrapped up in life and forget. Like, sorry, everyone, I'm a really bad card sender, but I'm thinking of you. But those coworkers, and right now I'm going to be leaving them. It's like, let's stay connected. Let's try. And I'm so bad at it, but I really want to. So what are your thoughts on the different types of friends? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you're good at long-term friendship, so I don't know.
I don't know why. I think because I moved at such a pivotal time in my life. I moved when I was 14 from Washington to California, and like keeping those friendships in Washington were so important to me. Those were my people, and my one of my friend's moms did this for me when we moved. And so I did this for Bailey's best friend when we moved from Washington to Arizona. But I loved Tinkerbell, was obsessed with Tinkerbell. So she bought me Tinkerbell stationery. She pre-addressed every envelope to their address and stamped it.
That's so cute.
Because this is pre like even MySpace.
Yeah, I know. I would write letters to friends too.
So we could like pen pal each other, and like we'd tear out teen beats and like fold it up and put it in our letters and send it to each other. And so I was able to
some JTT.
Yes. So I was able to, and for her it was Zach Hansen. I'd send Zach picture, but I was able to pen pal with her after I moved. But I always remembered her mom doing that. And she has this beautiful calligraphy penmanship.
Oh, yes.
Same family that I went and said goodbye to the mom and dad before we moved. Maureen and Terry. And I think moving at 14 away from my first street, second street, third street, fourth street, it was really important to keep those friendships. So I would write and phone calls, but long distance was a thing back then. So I'd have to have permission to make long distance phone calls. So it really was writing. And so having pen pals and keeping in touch that way,
kind of set you up, and you had a good example, right? By her doing that, it kind of set the tone and importance of having those friends and maintaining those relationships. Because same with me, my sister, she's my stepsister, but sister, and I didn't meet them until my parents got married, right? So it was like these new siblings. I'm like, oh my gosh. But she lived with us for a while, but then she moved back. I think it was in high school, moved back to Montana. And so we wrote back and forth to each other all the time because, collect calls. And I just remember how good it felt to get that letter in the mail.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
Yeah. And to this day, she sent me a screenshot of a letter the other day. And I was so dumb. I was middle school or something, but I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. But it was special.
Yeah.
No,
and I think that'll be our homework. Write a letter, because I had a cousin that passed away in 2017 that we were super, super close. And she's the not cousin, my dad's best friend's.
Oh, yeah.
My cousin. Yeah, she passed away. And I, one day after we moved here, felt super lonely, didn't really know anybody yet, and was like going through stuff, trying to get the house organized. And out of this book, a letter fell out.
Oh my gosh.
And it was from Jess. And it was saying how like, you're strong, you're gonna get through this.
I'm gonna cry.
Remember who you are. I know. And it came at just the perfect time. And she signed it by her nickname that only her and I called each other. And so
write those letters.
Write those letters. I still have so many.
Or send a card or something. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm like, now I need to write a letter.
Write a letter.
Well, speaking of that, because we've talked about the different friendships, and they're all so important because whether they're seasonal, whether they're long-term, it's so important to maintain them and also put that effort into it. So homework, write a letter.
Yeah. And I also have the perfect example of, she's still my friend, but I say seasonal just because at the time that she came into my life, she is who and what I needed. So when I was going through my divorce, I had been a stay-at-home mom and I had to find a job really quick. And I found a job I was working at a bar as a cocktailer, they called it, but a waitress. And I was so devastated, so heartbroken, so lost, like couldn't hold my head up high. And there was a girl at the bar. Her name's Nicole. Hi, Nicole. I've told her, and I cry whenever I say it, but I was like, I was in a million pieces, and you took the time to piece by piece put me
Oh,
back together again. And I've told her so many times, I'm like, if you had not come into my life at that time, I don't know where I'd be or what I'd be doing, because she literally would sit with me and cry with me and listen to me and make me laugh. And she had been divorced and like just life experience, but she's such a special person in general, but there's just something about her that just like,
so seasonal turn to long term, but
yeah,
like in that
that time,
season. Yeah.
she was it. I don't know. I love her so much. And I
Oh,
really don't know how I would have gotten through that time in my life without her by my side.
oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet. I know. And isn't that so serendipitous that these people come into our lives when we need them? I
Hmm.
think about that all the time. Like with us, our friendship, we both moved from Washington. We both have daughter, a little bit different in age, but close in age. Want to do cheer. We both coach. So all these things that align. It's like, wow, it's amazing that we moved here to this small town in the middle of the desert, and we have so many things alike.
I know. And our
And
girls are so funny because whenever we pass the park that they met at, because
oh yeah,
like that day for cheer, there was like a cheer function at this park, and that's where our girls met. It's where you and I met. But the girls, one of them will always say, and they take turns on who says it, but they'll touch each other, be like, "This is where it all started."
this
It's
is
just
where
so
we
funny,
met.
and we
I
pass that
know.
park all the time.
I know. It's
It is
really
cute.
cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people come into your life when you need them, and I think it's so important to remember that.
Hmm.
But then it turns into those long term, right? But then I guess on the flip side, there are friendships that don't last, or friendships that for whatever reason don't make it. So I guess then there's kind of this mourning
There is
of
a morning.
friendships
Hmm.
too. So
Grief.
yeah, there's grief in it because someone can mean so much to you, and especially like those friends that come when you need them.
Hmm.
And then you're like, oh man, that person meant so much to me, but now it's just
They're gone.
over. Like I had a really long-term friendship that when I went into the workforce at 18, we met and we went through so much together, but we were always on different paths in life. And so I feel like we didn't always connect on things, or we couldn't always understand people's point of view
Hmm.
in that regard. Um, so it just felt like it's slowly kind of going our different
Different
ways.
paths.
But we were friends for like I was at her wedding, she was at mine. Like we had kids at different times, but we both had kids and marriages, and but we were always there for each other. And so it wasn't until I think like last year where I was just like, if there's not effort on it on this side, I'm just trying to hold on to something that used to be.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking because if there would have been energy, I just kind of was done putting all the energy in it myself,
Yeah.
right? Like it has to come from both sides.
Well, and I feel like I'm dealing with that with my boys right now because they had friends back in Washington that they were so close to, so close to. And those boys, the boys in Washington, are doing a great job of reaching out to my boys. My boys, I think, are the ones at fault, but they don't like to text. They're like, it's not like I want to see these people. And so if I text a friend, it's to make plans. Neither one of my boys are good texters or talk on the phone. People like even my brother, who they're so close to, who lives in Washington, he'll be like, "Hey, can you tell your boys to respond, please? I actually asked a question." Like
I need a
they're
response.
so bad about it. And so the boys, the friends in Washington that I also adore, they keep reaching out to my boys and they're not responding. And I think that my boys do want to maintain that friendship, but only when it's in person. I'm like, you can't do that. So if we go to Washington next year and you haven't talked to them in a
They
year,
might not want
they
to.
might not want to see you. So you need to foster and facilitate contact too.
Make it kind of a habit too.
I know.
Like pick a day. And even I've told that, to my husband or to the kids, it's like, you can't expect people to be there when you need them if you're not there for them when they need you.
100%.
And it's hard because you want friends, but you're also busy, but you're also tired. Like everyone goes through that. Everyone's going through it, but they're spending the time to reach out to you. Like you
Yeah.
kind of owe them that if you
Well,
want
we
to
have
maintain it.
texting these days, like it takes 1
Nothing.
minute or less to
I
send a
know.
text back.
It doesn't take a lot of energy, even if you're like so busy or tired or
Yeah.
whatever, but you have to foster it because otherwise you will be alone, which is my next topic. Loneliness versus being alone. So our kids, and it's summer, and I think this is a very timely topic because they either want to be with someone 24/7 or I'm bored, I'm lonely, I'm this, I'm that. There's a very big difference between having friends and having that and being alone and lonely. Like there's differences between all of them. I think there's so much value maintaining your friendships, all of that, but also having time to be alone.
Yeah, we were just talking to your daughter about that.
Yes.
Like, it's okay. She's like, people are going to think I'm weird if I'm by myself. And I'm like, nobody's
No.
paying attention.
Yeah, like go
Like,
swim by
you need-
yourself, go down the slide by
You
yourself.
need to be okay by yourself. I actually used to love going to the movies by myself. Like, even when I was married. Like,
It's amazing. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you want.
Yep.
Get whatever
And-
snacks. Like
Yeah. So I really think there's a whole Friends episode, Back to Friends, where Rachel's trying to learn to go out to dinner by herself and she thinks she's a freak and da-da-da. And then she realizes she's like, oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. Like, I think it's important to know how to be with yourself, to be with your own thoughts and meditation, reflection, whatever it is, or just read a dang book. But yeah, my daughter too, she'll be like, I'm so bored. I'm like, never in my wildest dreams would have imagined going to my parents to be my entertainment. Like,
never.
go outside. But also, we live in such a family community, but my street is all either older people or young, because we have a lot of military here too, young families with like
Itty bitties.
So
yeah.
there's like no kids her age in our neighborhood, which is why someone needs to come move onto our street. Really.
we keep looking.
Because then they can be like, just go outside. Go
find your friend.
Go to the store. And because that's what we did. Like, just go knock, can so-and-so come out to play?
That's what we did too. Rode your bike to whatever.
And now you can just text and be like, hey, you want to meet
at the park?
At the house in between our two houses? Like,
yeah, I know. Well, and that's the thing, because being alone, I get to read my books, but I feel like it's also a learned thing. But also when you start to become dependent on friends, I think that's where it becomes a problem, because you're kind of trying to fill this spot, but you need to have a balance. And there is a point where being alone turns into loneliness. And I think that's important to keep an eye on. And because there have been times where friends aren't reaching out or you're not communicating with friends, where no one seems to want to do anything or schedules just don't align. And you've spent a lot of alone time, which, you know, you love, but then you're like, okay, I'm kind of lonely. I need that connection. So to your point, if you don't foster all of that in those in-between times, people aren't going to be there. Yeah. And then your alone time turns into loneliness. And I think that's huge, because I found a fact that I thought was interesting, that researchers compare loneliness to hunger. It's a signal that we need connection. So when you start to feel that deep loneliness, which very different than being alone, it's your signal. Like you said, reach out to a friend. That what better to fill your cup and to start to curb that loneliness than to reach out, have that connection. So it's a give and take.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have friends if you're not reaching out and fostering those relationships.
Well, and when we first moved here, we moved into our house mid-June, and beginning of August, I was so lonely. I hadn't met anyone really and was so alone and just struggling. And at the time too, I'm trying to be strong for my kids, who it was the 1-year anniversary of their dad's death, and they've lost so much, you know, so much. And we're in a new place and they didn't know anyone, and it's summer, and I'm trying to be strong for my mother-in-law. And I had like a breakdown, which led to my sobriety journey that we'll share later. But that loneliness, and then kind of self-isolating too, because I was in just such a dark place for a few weeks. Even when a friend would call, I wouldn't pick up because they
just wouldn't get it, and you're just lonely. And
yeah, and I think, I don't know. I was just in a bad place, but like it did turn into isolation, and I was so busy being a good mom and trying to be a good daughter-in-law and like being strong for everybody. But then when I'd close my door at night, I was a freaking wreck. I should have reached out. I knew people would be there for me, but I also felt at that time like I'd been such a burden for a year, which you're never a burden. People
that love you will be there for you.
Yeah, I don't know, but people want to be there for you. Sometimes they don't know how, but definitely when loneliness turns to isolation, make yourself get out, go talk to somebody, a friend, a therapist, whatever. And also it's unrealistic to always have to be the strong person for everybody. So we all need to lean on somebody sometimes, and having that person that, like, now it's you and Brooke for me. When I'm having a bad day, I call one of you two or both. If I need to, I need
It was a bad day.
I need both perspectives today. But don't let yourself slide into isolation and loneliness because it's a dark place. But then I'd come out of my bedroom door and I'd have a smile and try and be strong for my kids. But
Faking it.
faking it. Yeah. And it was not good. So,
well, that's funny because my therapist, not funny, but you know what I mean? My therapist recently said, if you're there for everyone else, like, who's there for you?
yeah.
So that's a good point because you're spending every piece of energy you have on everyone else and making sure everyone else is good. Everyone has what they
And you
need.
do that for like our cheer family.
I'm like, that's all I know is
our
just
church family.
being that person and making sure stuff gets done and everything is taken care of. Like, that is me. That's what I've always been for my family, like growing up, my family now. But if you don't have any time in there for people to be there for you, you're going to break down. You're going to isolate. You're going to, and I've had those moments where I'm like, oh man, like I just need time alone and I just cry about it. And, I'll talk to you, my husband, whoever it may be, my therapist, but you have to you have to know and be aware. And like you said, reach out to your friends, go have a friend date, go sit at the pool and read a book or whatever it may be. But just know when you're getting there because
start to be self-reflective. I think it's so important to know, oh, I'm starting to spiral or, which I've been doing this week. Like, oh, I'm going into a funk. I need to pull myself out and I need to talk to my friends and I need to read a book. I need to go for a walk, whatever it is, find what works for you, but also know the signals that it's coming and being able to get yourself out of there. But you mentioned too, like the empty cup thing. And I've said this to friends before, but for so many years, I poured from an empty cup. I was so depleted. And for the first time in the last 2 years, my sobriety journey, I feel like I'm pouring from a full cup. I'm able to give my kids the full me because I feel fulfilled because I take the time for myself. I take time to, and what's interesting too is like before I feel like I was pouring from an empty cup, but the kids were with their dad every other week. So I had time to myself, but I was also working so much, but I don't think I truly knew what it meant to
take care of you.
Yeah. Versus now, even though I have my kids all the time and I'm so crazy busy, I've learned what I need for me to feel good, that I'm able to do those things and make the time to do those things so that I feel good. So then I am being able to pour into our cheer girls or to my friendships or to my kids. So just finding that balance.
And when you are taking care of you, then you're the best version of yourself for everyone else too, right? Whether that's, like you said, your kids, your friends. So I think it is so important. And like, again, my therapist said, you are the most important thing. You have to take time for you. And I think that's a good message. Like, invest in yourself and figure out what you need and make the time for it.
And it might not be what everybody else does. Because I used to think a long time ago when I was married and before I had even had my first kid, I was like, oh, running is so good for people. I'm going to be a runner. And I did kind of sort of become a runner for a minute. And running's great. And it does give you endorphins and whatever. But like, it's
not your thing.
It's not my thing. And like,
it's not mine either. I got stress fractures in both legs. I was like, I can't run.
So try different things. Be willing to put yourself out there and try different things. One thing that I think gives me a huge stress relief and floods me with endorphins is cold plunging. And I would do it in Washington. But some people might be like, oh, I would never do that. So try different things. Be willing to get out of your comfort zone. Find what works for you and then do those things. But it might not be what works for everyone else. Like some people going to the gym, that hour is their mental health break for themselves.
Going to the gym, I'd be like, I'm sadder than before I went in because I can't do anything.
When you try and walk up the stairs, you're like, why did I do this?
Yeah. That's a good point you make. It's not the same for everybody else because my therapist is like, just block your work schedule the next morning after your infusions. Because I would try to get up and just get to work and do. And I was always so exhausted or nauseous or I could not be the best version of myself the day after my infusion. And so it's like, why didn't I ever think about that? Why didn't I block off the first hour of my morning so I could sleep in a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't take a lot. And I'm still getting my work done. But when you like actually think about it, you're like, oh, like that makes perfect sense. I just never even thought about that. So taking care of yourself in ways that make sense for you is so important. For me, it's reading a book or spending time with a friend, like, or even cheer.
Yeah.
Days that we get to make a difference. When they run up to you and hug you and you know you're making a difference, like it feels so good. Some days I'm like, I don't want to go to cheer. But when you're there and you make it through it, it's like, fills the cup, fills the cup. So,
Well, and I think it's also important, and like I've had to go on this journey, but liking yourself,
yeah.
finding what that means to you. So if you don't like yourself or you don't think you'd be your own best friend, and you should be, right? You should be able to spend time with yourself and like
Date yourself, you know?
find like, okay, well, what is it that I don't like about myself? Is it that I'm snarky? Is it that I'm judgy? Is it that I'm gossipy? And then work on correcting those things. Or would I be my own friend? Well, if not, then what are the things that I don't like about myself in a friendship? And try and work on those things. Being really self-reflective, I just think is so important.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
Yeah.
And sometimes a little too self-reflective. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I think those are all really awesome things. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Dubby Energy. That's DUBBY Energy. If you listen to us for any amount of time, you know life is basically one giant side quest. Between work, kids, coaching, family, and now a podcast, there's always something going on. Dubby has become one of my go-to energy drinks because it gives me the boost I need without all the crash. It's 0 sugar, tastes great, and honestly has been a nice change from some of the other options out there. If you want to try it for yourself, head to dubby.gg and use code WeGotThisRight for 10% off your order. That's We Got This Right, all one word at checkout. So I want to go to friendship myths because always growing up, being younger, the idea that more friends are better.
Yeah.
And you talked about that already, that sometimes quality is better than quantity. So I think this day and age, it's hard because it's totally different.
Likes
That's
and follows.
and whatever. Like how many people am I friends with online, which aren't real friends, but it makes it seem like everyone has these large friend groups. But would they be there for you in a moment that you need them? No. Like you don't even know these people. So I think to that point, and we've talked about it a lot, is that most people have a small group of close friends, and that is a-okay. Like you said, even if you have one. So I think it's really important, especially with this generation, which is always going to be different generation to generation, is it's okay to have one really good friend. It's okay to have a group of really good friends, whatever it may be. It's going to look different for everybody, but more is not better. Always.
100%.
So what about the myth that real friends talk every day?
No, there's no way. Life is too busy.
Yeah. Like how often would you say, I mean, like you're good friends, like Brooke, do you talk to her every day probably? Or do you have days where you don't?
I don't know. I mean, we have a besties group chat with me, her, and our friend Melissa.
So it's always
And I feel
popping
like we're
off.
always chiming in on there. Yeah.
What about your other friends that you'd say are good friends?
Well, like my college roommate bestie, she and I can go months without talking, and we always pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
And we've gone years without seeing each other, but the second we're together, it's like no
perfect.
time had
Yeah.
passed. So I think there's people that you just have that connection with, that even though life is busy, I mean, she has twin boys, like
Oh gosh,
even though life is so crazy busy, there are people that when you get back together, it's like no time had passed. And
I feel like that's how
so
it
I
is
have a lot of those too.
with my besties, because we always try to make a girls trip, and we just went to New York, and it's same thing. When you are back together again, it's just like nothing happened. And we do go time in between talking. Life gets busy and whatever it may be, but we're there for each other when it matters most, right? And so I think real friends, good friends can go in between, but also at the same time, there are those friends that I talk to you every day.
Yeah.
And when we don't talk, I'm like, what's
What I do
going
wrong? I know.
on? Like, yeah, is she mad at me, or is she just busy, or she's sick, or it's usually one of us is sleeping and doesn't feel good, you know? But
Well, and you talked about girls trips. There was a core group of us, 5 of us, that when Robert was alive, we would plan a girls trip. And I mean, we did Costa Rica. We would go to Leavenworth, was a big one. Leavenworth, Washington. If you haven't been, highly recommend. But we'd go on these girls trips, and there was 5 of us. Costa Rica ended up only being 3 of us, me, Brooke, and Melissa. But one of the 5, she just kind of saw herself out one day, and none of us could figure out why. And that friendship really hurt, because she was single at a season, I was single. And like there was a particular Thanksgiving, her son was with his dad, my kids were with their dad. And so her and I made this candlelit Thanksgiving dinner together, and I spent the night at her house with my dog Charlie. I only had one at the time. And we watched comedy shows and cuddled up with my dog on the couch. And she just slowly saw herself out.
Do you know why?
To this day. And then I think what really solidified it for me is when Robert died, she didn't reach out, and she knew. And so there are people that sometimes it does happen where you think you're so close and then
And you never know why. Like sometimes it's obvious, but other times,
well, she met a guy and she started dating a guy, and I don't know what it was. I mean, I hope that
some relationships are like that.
yeah, she just saw herself out of her girl group and
that's unfortunate because it is, as much as you said it's important to invest in yourself, it's also important to invest in those friendship groups or just friendships and taking those trips or making sure you find time to meet up, especially long distance friends. We have a lot of those living where we do now, and most of our friends are back up where we moved from, and it's so important. It's so important. And you need to have, significant other that understands that too. Like
yeah.
I it's really sad when people get into those relationships where like they're kind of controlled in a sense.
Yeah, it's all
Or
about each other
yeah,
and
like
nothing else.
nothing
Yeah, and
else.
that's not healthy.
No.
I definitely believe that when you're in a relationship, my ex-husband, Robert, used to go on guys' trips and they'd go camping or
Yeah.
he'd go on things. And then when I was divorced, I would go on my girls' trips. But when we were married, he would go on guys' trips. And I just thought it was important for like him, and he worked so hard for our family. And I do think it's important. And I miss my girls' trips. Like I
I
mourn them. Like me
know.
and the girls are always talking about, we can't wait till my kids are all grown and we can go on one again.
Why don't you go on one?
Well, because I have
You
my
got
kids
peoples.
to watch my kids for like a week. Well, we might be going on a trip when my boys are going out of the country in March with the high school. So we might do Aruba, but I would be taking my daughter. So, which would be fine.
Still girls trip.
Girls trip. But they're just so important and I miss that. And I mean, my mother-in-law did take my kids for, I think it was one night, maybe it was two, but I went to Sedona with Kate. I remember being like, oh my gosh, I needed this.
I can breathe.
Yeah, just a little break.
Because you're so busy. I say that all the time. Yeah, I'm busy, sure, but I'm usually at my home being busy. You're running this all over everywhere. I'm like, where are you? Oh, I'm in Tucson. I'm going to Costco. I'm like, girl,
yeah,
I can't keep up with you.
Kyler has this appointment. Rylan has it. Like,
I know.
It's so busy. I cannot wait until my oldest can drive. We're getting close.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, it's going to be my side quest of the week, but I can't wait till we have a second car.
I know, seriously. I need a third car because I'm taking my oldest to get her license any day now. So I'm not going to have a car. Yeah. But it's going to be nice. So I guess another myth, I think this is the last one, was that friendship should be easy.
No.
But I mean, some are easier than others because I feel like ours is easy. And I think it's also because we live close to each other. We're kind of in similar phase of life.
At church, yeah.
Yeah, like we're doing all the same things. Or like, hey, I'm going to the pool. You're like, okay, I'll see you there. Like, it's just all the things at the same time. I do think when you're not in the same phases, sometimes it can be hard. But like you said, if it's important, you'll put in the work. But it's not easy always.
No, and I'm so grateful for Brooke, especially, but she loved me at my darkest. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, I think we've cried like 3 times now.
She was with me in my darkest moments, and her love for me never faltered. And she loved me when I couldn't love myself. And guys, she was at the hospital. Like I called her when I found out Robert was in an accident, and I said, "Do you have the kids with you?" And she's like, "No, what's up?" And I said, "I'm at this particular hospital. Robert's been in an accident. We don't think he's going to make it." And she's like, "I'm 5 minutes away." And she sat with us the whole day. One of my sons was like, "Mom, I can't breathe in here." And she goes, "Let's go for a walk, bud." And she took him out and she walked with him. And I mean, she was there with us the whole day. But on top of that, just in my darkest moments, I was just sharing when I moved here, and I just was in a really dark, lonely place and just angry with God and angry with myself and with the situations that made us leave Washington and questioning if I'd made the right decision. And I mean, most days I looked in the mirror and I didn't like me, but she loved me through it all. And I will sometimes joke with her, like, I hope I can repay you one day, but at the same time, I'm not wishing hardship on you.
Bad to happen to you.
But I just hope she knows that if God forbid there's ever this really dark time for her, a struggle for her, like,
you'll be there.
I just want to repay her because the love that she's given me is just immense. And I think there's some people that if they're really struggling, maybe, I don't know, maybe it isn't worth staying in it. It's boundaries, right? But I do think there's some people that you're close enough to that there's a point where like you just need them. They're your lifeline. And that was Brooke for me.
Yeah. And I think like she knows that, you know that, and she knows you would be there for her. And so those are easy calls to make when it's a good friendship. in the drop of a hat, you would be there for each other, regardless of the situation. And those are the good friendships, right? It's give and take. It's not just take.
Yeah.
And, it was probably just as, hard for her in different ways, right? Like she knew him too, right? And she loves you and your kids. And so for her, it was hard in different ways, but like she was there too, So like she was going through things at the same time you were going through it. But I think it's huge that she was still there and still showed up and did what she could to help, because a lot of times, like you said, you don't know what people need, but just being there can be everything.
Yeah.
So shout out, Brooke.
I love you.
But yeah, I do think like at the end of the day, they can be easy, they can be hard, but they're not always easy. So,
and we're not saying that you should put in work with someone that's
draining.
Yeah, there are boundaries, and I even have boundaries with people of my own family. Boundaries are important, but I think have discernment, right? Know the friendships that are worth being there in their darkest hour and fostering and being there for them, and then the ones that are just take, and having safe boundaries.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with everything that we've talked about, it's so important that you have people that show up, that tell you the truth. I think it's super important to have people that celebrate your wins with you, because they're going to be there for, for the losses, the wins, whatever it may be, the highs and the lows. So you want those people there that are celebrating you every step of the way, that sit with you through hard things, right?
And my friendships rehab this, but calling you on your bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. Back to Brooke. Just call this episode Brooke.
Yeah.
Brooke and Spike. Like when I was going through really hard stuff when my kids' dad was alive and the stepmom, we had a lot of issues and she overstepped a lot. There would be times sometimes where Brooke would be like, Jules, I'm going to play devil's advocate and give you a different perspective. And some days I didn't want to hear it, but it was important to hear. Or if there's a situation, I'm like, well, this and this and this happened. And she's like, well, you're kind of in the wrong there, So I think that's really important. And I've done that to her and I've done that to some of my other friends where I'm like, well, actually, I think that person might kind of have a leg to stand on. And can I tell you why? I think that's really important too.
Yeah, it is. And it's not always easy, because I think like I struggle with that in situations, especially recently, where like I'm in the middle of a lot of things and I want like to be the best friend I can be, but also like see both sides. And I think it's so hard to be that person and tell the truth and like think of it from this perspective, because when you see both sides and you see all the perspectives, you're like, there's not anyone that's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right. But you want to be there for your friend. So I think that's so important to like just be honest, be truthful. Like you said, call people out on their BS, because at the end of the day, like your friendship is going to withstand that. Your friends. If you're worried that someone, maybe if you say something honest, or you say, I'm dealing with that with my youngest, is she's like, well, if I tell them I don't feel good, or I tell them that I'm not up for a sleepover when I already said that I was, then they won't be my friend. Well, if they're not going to be your friend, then they're not a good friend, because friends understand what they're going through. It's like, obviously you have to do it the right way, not just be like, go home,
Yeah.
But friends will understand. Yeah. Friends get it. And so the homework, send a letter.
Write a letter. Sit down.
Handwrite it.
Yep.
Get your little stampy stamp and send it to a friend.
Get your quill.
Yeah, your quill. Your ink. And write something.
Stamp it with the
wax seal. Oh
yeah.
my gosh, I really want to learn how to do that. It's so
I
cool.
can teach you.
You know how? Okay, you got to teach me that. Okay. So we are at the point where we're going to go through our rapid fire.
Woo, woo.
Woo, woo. Okay. So this is obviously friendship themed, but I think what we should do is I'm going to ask a question and we'll talk about who out of us two.
Okay.
And then outside of us.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's twofold.
So first one, friend most likely to answer the phone between you and me. I think it's you.
Yeah.
I think it's you. You always answer. Mine's phone's always on silent. And because I'm napping or I'm working or whatever. Yeah. So it's never going to be me. So it's going to be you. So what about outside of us?
Brooke.
How
about you?
Could be you. Friend most likely to survive the apocalypse.
I mean you.
You.
Me.
If you can get your safe open.
No, I still update. Have not found the case.
Yeah. Update.
It's in my, we got this wrong, but you can hire a locksmith to do it. And I might be doing that very soon.
Okay.
Outside of us?
Yeah.
My brother, Daniel. Shout out, brother.
Probably
Your
my
husband?
maybe, because he's always out there.
I
Like
know,
he loves to be outside and like act like he's homeless. I don't know. In the woods.
I know.
But maybe your husband, but also my brother-in-law Eric. Like he's really outdoorsy and he has all the stuff and like his paracord, he wears like a paracord bracelet. Like
Oh, yeah.
he has all the things. And so I think he would be the survivor.
Okay.
Friend most likely to join a side quest.
That'd mean you.
Uh-huh.
You're pretty like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I think I'm down for whatever. Just
Yeah.
let me know. I'll be there.
Outside of us?
Outside of us.
My friend Melissa. Me and her are both like, we'll do anything once. Like, jump off the rock
Yeah.
into the icy cold water. Got it.
Yeah. I think my friend Nishika, because anytime I'm like, hey, you want to go on a trip? She's like, yeah, where are we going?
Yeah.
Or she wants to come see in December when we do jams.
Oh, yeah.
She wants to come see her compete. So they book it, you know? So I think it'd be her.
Okay.
Friend you'd call from jail.
Well, we'd have to call each other.
Yeah.
In this scenario.
Duh.
But outside of us?
Yeah.
Who's yours be? Your husband?
Well, yeah. Hopefully he'd come and get me. I don't know. If I was in Washington, I'd probably call my sister-in-law Mallory.
I'd call Brooke.
Yeah. The answer is Brooke. Okay. Biggest friendship red flag.
Talking about you behind your back.
Yeah. Going back to like stand up for people even when they're
In
not
rooms
around.
they're not in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That I agree with. I also think going back to people that just don't make time for you.
Yeah.
Time is important and you have to choose how you spend it. And I know I'm always not the best, but I definitely try. But even my husband will be like, oh, I feel like a lot of my friendships are maybe not where I want them to be. But I'm like, but when's the last time you reached out?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's super important. So talking behind backs and not dedicating time. And it doesn't always have to be a lot.
Well, and I think too, I say this all the time. I've been saying this to my mother-in-law recently, and a lesson I'm going through with my son right now. But when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to make a friendship work if it's not working.
Yeah.
Or if you learn things about them or they talked about you. People show you their true colors. Most likely they're not going to change unless there's like some big thing and they do change because they've realized who they've been and how they've been. That's who they are. Do you want that in your life? You make that choice. Biggest friendship green flag.
Showing up.
Okay, showing up.
Showing up. I think for me and my kids, and same for you, you guys coming to my daughter's dance recital, like her face lit up so big when she saw it. It was like, you guys, her voice lessons teacher came. Showing up. I mean, that's huge.
I agree. I always see those videos where the people are in the crowd and they're like, importance of showing up at any age.
Kid runs out on stage and they're like,
that one. But I saw one recently. It was a kid graduating from high school and he was kind of like, in his emo phase. But as soon as he saw his family, his face lit up. And that killed him. He was so happy. But it's so important to show up. And the people, like when you had your health thing and you had to have surgery, it's like, girl, tell me whatever I need to do. I don't even care. I don't care what I'm doing, clear my schedule. So I think it's so important in those moments.
Can I do a little side story on that too? Like when I had my surgery, Brooke was like, gosh, I wish I was there. I want to bring you dinner and I wanted this and I wanted that. And you're like so far away and whatever. And I did have people show up, like multiple people show up. And I remember calling her after the fact and I was like, I know you worry about me so far away, but like, I'm okay. Like I have my
people got
here.
me.
Yeah. And like making her feel better too, because we always have been there for each other, and now I am states away, but like being able to call her and be like, I got my peeps here. It doesn't take away from her. Like she will forever be like my ride or die. But like,
and if she was around, like she would be there,
But knowing that like I have my people here too.
Yeah. And that's so good. Like having your circles, they can overlap, What's worse, being flaky or brutally honest?
Flaky.
Yeah. So flaky, yes. And I hate rescheduling and I hate when I don't feel well. And I'm like, can we just please
Yeah, but I think there's a difference in having a valid excuse and just being flaky.
Yeah, I agree. But to that point, I think I've had so many people flake on me in my life and not be there that I feel bad for any reason that I do it. You know what I mean? So if I can be there, I'm gonna be there. But being brutally honest, I think there's a point where it goes too far. Like if you're being hurtful with your honesty, some things you just don't need to say. Just know the difference, But yeah, flaky for sure. And then how many close friends do you think a person really needs? Is there a number?
I don't think so. I think one. You need one. You need to have
At
at
least
least
one.
one.
But there's no max.
But there's no max. I mean, I definitely have a lot.
Yeah. And I think, like, to your point, they're friends in different ways and at different things. You know who those people are and what they are to you and what you are to them, right? Like, Brooke's your ride or die. And then you have your other really good friends and like your group chats. So they're all important in different ways. You know, our friendships can mean different things to us.
And I can't wait to meet your people.
I
You've
know,
met
and I've
some,
met
but
your
you can't
peoples.
wait to, yeah.
And I love your peoples. They're so
Oh, I guess you
sweet.
can. You've met Brooke, Melissa, and Kate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've met the crew
Yeah, you have.
and I've met the child, one of the childs.
Oh, Ashley.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to say names, but
Yeah,
that's okay.
Brooke's daughter.
But you wouldn't have bad friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I was thinking about this because I've been doing a lot of self-reflection this past week because there's been a situation, but I literally prayed the words, God, can you just flip and show me the lesson here so that I can get out of this season? Whatever I'm supposed to be learning, just hit me upside the head with it so that we can move on.
and get out of this funk and like,
because it's not
carry
just
on.
me, it's affecting my kid. It's all of us are in this. Things have just been really hard for all four of us lately. Like, it's been one thing after another. So what are you trying to teach us here? And the kids and I have been through a lot more than they should have in their young years. And I pray all the time that it makes them stronger. But then I was like, oh, there have been things that I'm super blessed with. Friendships came to mind when I was in bed thinking. I have had friends who have struggled with pregnancy. I thankfully did not. I got pregnant each time very easily and had fairly easy births. So I think it's sometimes when you're in a funk and you can look, I can choose to look at all these bad things that we've been through, and I tell my kids this, or we can find the good and focus on the good. So when I can sit down, and friendships is always one of the ones I think about, that I'm so blessed with great friends and nothing can take away from that. And I'm so lucky in that. And then, you know, I build on it. So like I thought of other things, but like trying to focus on the good, but also because we are in a season right now, what is the lesson in this? And what are we going to learn from it? And just keeping our head up high till we get through it.
And I think that's the thing too with going through hard moments in life, and we've had quite a few this year. And I'm always like, what are we grateful for? And I think that's friends, huge, huge, huge. And finding you and having you as a friend, and then our church and our cheer and whatever it is. There's so many good things, and I think when you're going through those hard things, that's what the lesson is. It's yeah, you're going through hard things, but maybe you didn't realize how many good things are in your life.
Yeah.
You
And I
know?
tell my kids that all the time too, because with the passing of their dad, I tell them we can have a bad day. We can have a bad, we call it a bad dad day. We can have a bad dad day, but we can't have a bad dad week, and we can't have a bad dad month. We're always going to carry him in our heart, and we have pictures of him all throughout our house, and we talk about him, and we make daddy chili at least twice a month, and keeping him alive, but we can't sulk in it, because the best way to honor him is to live a good life. And so I tell them all the time, find the good, find something that you learned from him that you're excited to teach your kid, or you just, if you're looking for the negative, you're going to find the negative. And if you're looking for the good, you can find the good.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, good lesson.
Yeah.
Find the good, guys. Okay. Side quest of the week.
Side quest of the
What's yours?
do
I don't know if I have one yet. I'm going to think on it while you tell yours.
Well,
Do you
mine
have one?
happened this morning.
Okay.
So I had some appointments. I wanted to grab a coffee before my appointments. I get in my car and my battery's dead because my daughter left a light on again. This is not the first, second, or third time. And so last time, because of how I park in my garage, my father-in-law had tried to come jump my car and the cables wouldn't work. So we tried to do 2 cables to like get it to work. I don't know if you're supposed to do that. So don't do that.
Probably not.
But it didn't work. So I went and bought like this $100 like portable battery charger thing, and I go plug it into my car, and it's on low because I left it on. So my daughter leaves the light on, I left that on. So it said it would take up to an hour to like, charge the
get
battery.
it enough to start it.
So I had to call my mother-in-law and say, can I borrow your guys' truck, and can you bring it to me like right now?
Because I have an appointment.
And they did. They dropped everything and came and brought me the truck, and my battery is now working, but I had to let it charge for a really long time. So yeah, it's my side quest, dead battery.
Well, you got to your appointment and people showed up for you.
Yeah.
There you go. Gosh, what is like my week? I don't know.
I think for you. Well, you've had a few days off of work.
Yeah. So I took some time off because I'm switching jobs. I decided to take some time off. We have unlimited PTO where I work now. So I was, why not take some time off? I never do unless I'm sick. So I did take some time off. I'm off right now, and a couple more days off. And then I'll go back for like a week and a half, and then I'm done there, which is sad. Talking about those friends because I do have some really great work friends. Shout out Lynn, Shannon, Sarah, Des, all my peoples. Because I think they listen. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really sad to leave, and I hope we can maintain that. And I love Florida. Have you been to Florida?
Mhm.
I love Florida, and I was like, oh well, here's another girls' trip. We got to go to
Yeah.
Florida and just meet up with the people. So, yeah, it's been nice to have time off. I'm on my third book.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Well, and I guess we got to talk about what we were reading real fast. I read 2 books, which were really good, and they were We Who Will Die
Mm.
by Stacia Stark, Stasia Stark, and Scar in the Bone by Sophie Jordan, which was a follow-up to Fire in the Sky, which I talked about by Sophie Jordan. And then right now I'm reading, so maybe I've read more than I thought, A Kiss of Iron by Claire Sager. So all really good. Yeah, all really good. What are you reading?
I just started last night by Kristen Hanna because I love her and she's from Bainbridge Island.
Oh.
But I'm reading The Things We Do for Love.
Oh,
It's not a love
okay.
story. It's like a mentor story, which is kind of fitting for the
You'll have to talk about
situation
that.
I'm
Like,
in.
yeah,
Um,
and yeah, we'll have to talk about that next time.
yeah.
Let's see
So
how it goes.
yeah, I'm excited. I've read almost every single one of her books. I did not know this one existed. It was funny because I was looking at my bookshelf and my daughter comes over and she's like, "Which books have you read again?" And I was this shelf up and this side
Oh, you have them
over.
by read
Yeah.
and not? Oh, me
And
too.
so she's like, "Which ones haven't you read?" And I was like, "All of these." And so I'm thumbing through and she's like, "Read this one." And she picked it. And I was like, "Well, I do love me a good Kristen Hanna book." So
Oh, you didn't even, so it was on your
it
bookshelf
was on
and
my
you didn't even know?
bookshelf. Well, I mean, I didn't know. But Bailey's like, "Read this one." And I was like, "Okay." So
Awesome,
started it
awesome.
yesterday.
And it's good so far?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like we talked about it. There's very few that aren't good enough to finish. So,
Well, and she's like 2 of my top books she's written.
oh, really?
Yeah, I just love her. And one of them's getting turned into a movie, and I think it's starring Dakota Fanning and Elle Fanning, and they're playing
Ooh.
sisters in the movie. It's called The Nightingale. If you haven't read it, highly recommend, but such a good book.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I have to
I
read
think
it now
comes
because
out
we'll have to
next
watch
year.
it.
So you have
Go
a
to
year.
movies.
You'll read it in a day.
Okay, I got a year. All right. So what about We Got This Wrong?
Yeah, so I realized I didn't do episode 3 last time. So I have a few. So we talked about the sun being bad for dogs because both of our all 3 of our dogs love to be outside. And I actually just looked it up just for clarification. It says moderate sun exposure is safe. However, sunlight can lead to sunburns
On dogs?
on dogs. Typically, it is on well, and overheating, of course, but they can get skin cancer.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And typically they burn their nose, their ear tips, and their belly.
Oh my
So watch for
goodness.
sunburns on your dogs.
Can they wear sunscreen?
Oh, I don't know.
We got to look at that. If they have like dog
Special
sunscreen.
dog sunscreen. And then I had mentioned my book that I loved, Lady Tan Circle of Women, but I didn't know where it took place. So I looked that up just to clarify. It's a 15th century China.
Okay.
So just
And we linked it in the last
notes.
episode. So
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
on there.
And then I realized, even though this is from episode 1, I think I hadn't really done any research on Ivan. We keep talking about Ivan and the BNI. So I looked up that there were other animals there. There was a baby elephant named Sammy.
Stop it. They had an
Chimps,
elephant?
lions, jaguars, and reptiles. They rotated the animals, but the chimpanzees actually died on their arrival to Tacoma. But Ivan was the longest standing animal there. He lived in captivity for 27 years before being relocated in 1994.
Poor baby.
I know. So that's so sad. And then I wanted to give an update on my dog Duke because I
I was
was
going to
sick.
ask you.
So Duke is all better. I do think there was something wrong with him. I don't know what, but also my daughter was away at camp when he was sick. And the day she got home, he ran to the door and was all over her as if nothing had happened. So I do think he had a tummy ache, but I think he had melancholy.
Oh,
I know. And even my boys were like, "Was this all because Bailey was gone?" Like, what
see,
the heck?
it goes into this episode. You
Yeah.
gotta have your people.
Gotta have your people.
You
And
have a broken heart.
but I do think there was something wrong too because he hadn't pooped in a couple days. But I don't know. Maybe it was just worry. And then it makes me worried because we're all going on vacation and my dogs are being my house and dogs are being dog sat.
We
Is he
might.
gonna be worried the whole time? But I did just want to tell about valley fever because we talked about valley fever. So I just looked up like more information because we didn't totally know. But it's a fungal infection in the desert. It's in the soil and it causes joint pain, respiratory issues, and organ damage.
So maybe he did have some sickness,
know, 'cause
and
it
it
was
was
at this-
ergon too.
Yeah, I think it was a combo because he was definitely like he would whimper
He was
when
hurt.
I carried him.
Yeah.
So, but
And people get it, dogs get it.
yeah.
A lot of people that come, and we have storms, and so the dust blows all
Well,
around.
and it was that Wednesday where you locked your keys out of the car.
And almost got hit by a branch.
Yeah, we almost got knocked out by a branch. Okay, so that was what we got wrong in episode 3 / Ivan from episode 1. But then episode 4, there's not a lot, but I did just want to point out, you brought up the Walmart baby movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called Where the Heart Is, starring Natalie Portman and Ashley Judd. It was released in 2000. If you have not seen it, go see it. Because it also made me not like the number 555. Remember how whenever she saw 3 5s in a row, she'd like freak out?
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. So,
Okay, watch the movie.
and then I did look up Terry Brooks. He is from Seattle. That's what I wanted to make sure I got right. And he did write the Shannara series. And the first Shannara book was released in 1977.
Wow.
That's how long he's been
Well,
writing
and
them.
didn't they have it on
There was a
TV?
show.
Yeah,
Mhm.
more recently. I think it was on like MTV, which was weird. I don't know why, because they had like Teen Wolf and whatever. But it was the Shannara Chronicles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I already said that yes, safes can be opened by a locksmith, which I might have to do because I've still not found those stinking keys. So,
Well, thank you. Thank you for we got this wrong and now making it right.
yeah.
And so getting down to business as we wrap up this episode, remember that we are on Instagram, We Got This Right. Our email is wegotThisRight2026@gmail.com. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, all the places. We also have new merch. Really excited about
cute
that.
merch. And we're talking about, we're going to do a giveaway when we reach 100 followers on Instagram. So tag your friends, tell your friends, and then everyone who's in there, we're going to do
A wheel,
yeah,
raffle, whatever. Make it, random, and you'll get some merch. And big shout out to Casey, right?
Yes.
For doing our new logo. It's amazing. Thank you very much. And yeah, all that's in our bio and our Linktree link. So definitely check that out. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of?
No, just definitely, especially on Spotify and YouTube and Instagram. Liking and subscribing is huge. It definitely helps us out. Yeah. Making comments on stuff helps a lot too. Just thanks for being on this journey with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go write a letter to your friends.
Check out all the things.
Yeah.
We'll link them.
Email us.
Let us know.
Your side quest of the week.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We got this right.
Bye.
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
we got it.
Okay. Bye.